The reality that we manifest, that we create, types of people we attract, jobs, flatmates, housemates, anything, situations, people, things that we create and manifest are direct reflection of what is happening inside of us. It's a mirror to the state that we create and our intentions. Okay, this is Mike Sigula from TruthTheory.com and welcome to another episode of True Spirituality. So True Spirituality is my series where I talk about metaphysics, esoteric ideas and teachings. And today we will talk about being aligned, why this is super important, what it actually means, how I got to understand it, how I apply these things in my own life. So let's get into it. So I like to use this word alignment, and I'll explain you what I mean by that. So the reality that we manifest, that we create, types of people we attract, jobs, flatmates, housemates, anything, situations, people, things that we create and manifest are direct reflection of what is happening inside of us. It's a mirror to the state that we create and our intentions. And there are many other things that can influence what kind of situations you attract, what kind of people you attract, why the life unfolds for you in specific ways. But these two things are quite important. So intentions and what I call internal state. These two things are important. So we are born into this world and straight away we get different forces that try to shape our behavior, our belief system, things like that, right? For example, cultural norms. In some places in the world, some countries, they have different treatment for women and for men. Or arranged marriages where someone is not choosing their loved partner, but their parents make the decision, right? So there are all these different forces that shape how we think, how we behave. Things like corporations, entertainment industry, teachers, education system, what your parents teach you from childhood. All these different programs, all these different forces try to influence how you think, how you behave, and often this behavior is not beneficial to you, is not aligned, is not harmonious with your gifts, your talents, your own way of living. So we have a lot of these false programs and forces in this society that try to turn you into something that you don't want to become, basically. And often what is promoted as something that's going to make you happy turns out to be the opposite, for example. What I'm trying to say here is really well expressed by this quote from Indian philosopher Jiddu Krishnamurti. It is no measure of health to be well adjusted to a profoundly sick society. It is really important that in order to create life that is fulfilling, makes us happy, satisfied, is compatible with our natural talents and gifts, we first need to understand that there are all these forces and programs that try to turn us into something completely different than we should become, basically. And stop listening to these programs, stop allowing them to shape us, and start listening to your own intuition and eliminating everything that is dragging you down and amplifying and cultivating everything that is lifting you up. Basically, this is briefly the formula, but there is way more to it. So let's get into the main thing. First thing is intentions. Think about intentions as a glue that creates attraction of things towards you. And you know what kind of intentions you have when you desire something. So for example, your intentions can come from ego, or can be superficial, or they can come from your heart, and they can be very beneficial. So let me give you this example. Let's say you have a guy and he wants to attract a partner, a relationship, and the intentions are for this person are superficial. They come from ego. So for example, he thinks, I want to have a good looking girl who's like super hot, and I don't know, she's gonna be really good in bed. That's his intentions, for example. So the intentions are very superficial here, right? External look and things like that. So what happens, because these intentions have this blueprint or characteristic of ego and superficiality, what very often will happen is that, at some point he might attract someone like that, but the same will be reflected towards him. So this person, for example, that he will attract will have also superficial intentions towards him. For example, might be only interested in his money, So this is the first thing. The opposite intention in the same scenario would be, for example, I want to be with someone who's going to be good for me, that I'm going to be happy with. We're going to love each other. We're going to support each other. We're going to have a great time together. That is going to be someone who I will be happy with, and this person will be happy with me. Things of this nature. So this is completely different. Intentions come from your heart, right? And you desire something that is good for you, for the other person, etc. Obviously, you can still have other intentions, of course. Maybe, you want to share same passion, same hobby, same job, whatever it is. But you can see the difference between the first example, where, the intentions were very superficial, and the other example where intentions come from your heart, right? So the second example, this person will create a blueprint, the glue, that will start attracting, hopefully, people that will, be on that level. So this is important thing to remember. Intentions, right? What kind of intentions you have? Let me give you another example, because there's more to it. Someone's going to say, I have good intentions and I attract bad people, whatever. Wait till we're going to get to the other side of the video, because I'm explaining also that. So another example could be, someone wants to get a job, and intention is just money. I want to get a job that is highly paid. This is the intention, right? Okay. What often happens in such cases is that, at some point this person might attract this kind of job, but there will be a side effect to it. So for example, I've seen situations where a person would attract well-paid job, but it would be very stressful, very demanding, working weekends, evenings, completely drained, etc. And then this person ends up to be unhappy. You got what you wanted, but it's not how you thought it's gonna look like, huh? So this is a superficial intention coming from ego. The opposite to that could be, I want to have a job that will make me fulfilled, satisfied, where I can share my gifts, where I can learn something new, where I can contribute, where my talent is appreciated, where I feel excited about this job, things like that, right? Sounds a little bit different, intention, right? So here you have clear intentions that come from your heart. You really want something that's gonna be fulfilling, and it's more likely that someone with these types of intentions will attract what they desire, right? You can still think about, yeah, of course money is important, you want to pay your bills, right? But the primary desire comes from heart. It's not just coming from the ego, right? So this is why I talk about the intentions. So things often that we attract come from intentions, and what kind of intentions we have create characteristics, that will reflect the intention often towards us as well. So first thing, intentions. Now let's talk about being aligned and why this is also very important. When I say about being aligned, when I talk about being aligned, I'm talking about clearing as many imbalances that we might have, and also listening to our intuition. And what do I mean by imbalances? So anything that is out of balance, that is not beneficial towards you or towards others. So examples could be chronic complainer, someone who complains all the time, someone who has some traumas, someone who acts from ego, someone who is greedy or selfish. Being selfish and greedy, this is an imbalance. Some kind of bad habit or addiction, like porn, like alcoholism, things like that, for example. Gambling, whatever it is. A womanizer, imbalance. Anger, binge eating, depression, lack of self-love. This is important one. I see it constantly, how it creates reality that is not very fulfilling. So someone who is putting others first, who is not valuing themselves, always say yes to every request. Someone who sometimes is critical towards themselves, judgmental, things like that. So these are examples of imbalances. Everything that is out of balance, it can be in all sorts of different formats, but is not benefiting you or people that you interact with, right? It could be even workaholism, for example, in some cases. So people who have these types of imbalances often attract reality, people, situations that will also have some kind of imbalances. Sometimes they might be completely different, or they appear as completely different, but they hold similar characteristics, similar blueprint. So let me give you some examples. This is a real example, someone I know, female, we're talking about specific period here, not always, things change all the time, but basically what I see, many women have programming that they look for a partner that is financially wealthy. And this is obviously comes from generations and generations, because in the past, if husband or partner was dominant, had money or whatever it was thousands of years ago, could take care of the family, they had higher chance to survive. And this pattern obviously stayed, and this is one of the very common things that many women seek when they get into relationships. They want financial security, so they typically will look for a partner that is better off with money, for example. There's nothing wrong about these things. It's just I'm giving you some examples here. So someone I know, that was a desire, let's say, for a period of time to find a partner, and it's a superficial desire. So this person now attracted a partner that was making way more money. This is one thing. So we have superficial intention that creates superficial intention towards her, because he wanted to be with her because of her body. So again, that's what I said earlier. There was a superficial intention that created an attraction, and the same is reflected towards her now. So the guy is kind of also interested in things like sex and money, instead of looking at things differently. So this is the first thing, right? Now the second thing, this person has imbalance, right? The female. So she is the chronic complainer, someone who complains a lot, who's focusing a lot on negativity, talking about negative things, having some traumas, things like that. What happens? The guy is a womanizer, has problems with drinking and drugs and partying. Seems completely unrelated, right? What these two things have in common? Nothing, right? But they have the same characteristics. So both are imbalances. And the funny thing is that they canceled each other here, because he didn't like the fact that she was complaining. She didn't like the fact that, you know, he had problems with drinking and being a womanizer and things like that. So you see, this is the thing. If this person would heal that aspect, then the person she attracts cannot have these types of patterns. This is an example. Sometimes it can work in different ways. Some people have more than one pattern, you know, typically people have a couple. And the funny thing is about it is that also that, you know, she wanted a guy with money, whatever, and he was greedy, so greedy that he wouldn't even do anything, you know, he wouldn't like share that money or anything, you know. So the guys that she dated before who were broke were actually treating her better and were more generous than the guy with money. So, you know, but this is a case study. This is actually a real case study, real example of how these dynamics that I talk about can work as an example in the real world. Another example that I see a lot, because I do coaching one-on-one as well, and I get a lot of clients that have lack of self-love. So they basically put others first, you know, don't respect themselves, and then they keep attracting situations and people that reflect the same towards them. So people don't value their kindness or take advantage of them. I don't know, don't respect them, things like that. And someone is like changing friends, changing situations, changing jobs, changing boyfriends, whatever it is, and it's always the same scenario. Keeps coming back. One form, it changes into another, one person is changing into a different one, and they always have the same characteristics, always the similar treatment. So this is what I'm talking about. The problem is not with these people, these situations, they are just reflection of what's happening here. Once you heal that element, you start valuing yourself more, you start putting yourself first, you start first listening to yourself, then others. You don't say yes always to everything, but first, me, you cannot pour out of an empty cup, right? Then, once these patterns are changed here, then this reality, the things we start attracting also start reflecting that. So keep in mind that the more you clear and heal anything that is out of balance in yourself, and you keep the intentions pure, coming from the heart as often as possible, the more you start creating reality that's compatible, that makes you happy, fulfilling, situations get better, people get better, relationships get better, etc., etc., etc. Remember that we are work in progress. Everyone has things to work on. I have still things to work on, even though I've been putting a lot of time and effort over the years to try to, you know, heal myself as much as possible. But still, I have good days, bad days, and everyone has things like that, situations like that. So don't get discouraged when, you know, you go back to the old habits or whatever it is. Don't feel bad about yourself if you have a day when things are not going as you thought, or you're getting out of your alignment. It's just gonna happen. It's a work in progress, right? Keep in mind that in this society where everything is out of balance and there are all these negative forces and programs, it's very difficult to be aligned all the time 100%. So keep that in mind. And if you have scenarios that keep occurring over and over, like you still keep attracting same kind of boyfriend or girlfriend, same kind of scenarios, same kind of negative situations at work, whatever it is, and you don't know what is causing that, why it is happening to you. I actually work with people when I try to figure out the pattern and heal it or clear it as much as possible. So get in touch. You can send me an email. It's coaching@truththeory.com, or have a look at TruthTheory.com/coaching. I do first quick call free of charge just to get to understand what's the challenge and if I'm able to help. So get in touch, because sometimes it's better to work with someone who already has experience and can see these patterns. And also, there's more to being aligned and getting and manifesting the right version of reality. So I made this video, how to manifest what your soul desires, where I talk more about another area like higher self-alignment and more kind of to do with spirituality that also help to align and get more synchronicities. So you can have a look also at the other video where I talk more about these things. So the things that I'm talking about here, they're not just like some mambo jumbo BS that I'm just inventing or coming up from some books. This is all trial and error over many years. I made tons of mistakes and I was repeating the same scenarios over and over and over, ending up in negative situations with everything from relationships to career aspects, everything, friendships, everything. And over time, trial and error, started healing myself, started fixing myself, started changing habits. The more I started to listen to my intuition, doing what I think is the right thing for me, what I'm good at, what I should be doing, not allowing programming to manipulate me or control me, healing myself as much as possible. So I gave up alcohol completely, pornography, watching pornography, things like that, everything that can spoil me. Started always thinking about my intentions when I do things, raising my vibration, meditation, listening to my intuition, things like that, allowing synchronicities to unfold, eliminating anything that would drag me down, that was harmful, things like even, friendships, evaluating which kinds of friendships really are benefiting me and the other person and which would drag me down and would be harmful. So eliminating anything that is out of balance that would drag me down and amplifying everything that would be beneficial, and listening to myself and trying to align. The more I start doing these things, and I'm a little bit different because this is my life, so I do personal development for a living. So I'm just now at this stage where I try to just become the best version of myself. So I'm not gonna tell you that you should do exactly everything like that, because obviously everyone is different, and some of these things might take a lot of effort and time for some people. But, also like spending my time on, is it beneficial or not? Like wasting time on some things that are not important. People I spend time with, valuing myself. This is another really important thing. Loving myself, putting myself first. When someone wants something, I used to be like first, always yes. Now I value myself more. And the more I started to balance myself and listen to my heart, follow my intuition, the more everything just flows. Everything starts flowing more and more and more in life. I also try to just cultivate my inner child, so make fun out of everything, being sarcastic sometimes, not take things seriously, eliminate negative thoughts, not dwell on some negative events or think about what might go wrong in the future. Just clearing myself as much as possible and raising my frequency as much as possible. So the more I've done all these things, the more my life just started flowing, and I really enjoy it now. I feel like I'm in my power. I do what I enjoy doing, help others. I attract cool people. Things get exciting. I wake up and I can't wait sometimes to just get to work because it's exciting, brings me a lot of pleasure and value and things like that. So I think it's possible for many people. I'm not saying it's easy, but I just wanted to share with you a couple of these important things to think about, especially if you are repeating some negative patterns and seem to be coming always, like, whatever it is in your life that is like always the same thing. That's a signal that, maybe there's something that needs healing. And once you're gonna change it here, the reality starts reflecting that. So hope this is useful. Please let me know what you think about it in the comments. If this resonates, please give it a like, share this video with others. And if you want to work with me one-to-one, I'm doing coaching and mentoring, so get in touch. It's coaching@TruthTheory.com. Send me an email or have a look at TruthTheory.com/coaching. Initial quick call is free of charge, not charging you. Maybe we can work together, maybe not. And thank you for watching another episode of True Spirituality. Until next time.